you fans of the Let's Talk Chicago Bears. We got a win last night. Win. We got a win. We got a win. Right on. And there is nothing better than beating Brady, is there? I mean, come on, man. That's a good feeling, isn't it? Um, and he was so confused at the end of the game. He didn't know what down it was. He says today he did. Bullshit. But the one thing is so true. I said it before the game. I said to my son, you can get, and I think I said it on the show too. You can get in Brady's head if you try hard enough. If you keep pounding him, keep knocking him down, keep rushing him. Because when he was in New England, he had great offensive lines, so he rarely had that issue. But when he did, he'd get real mad. And after that one series where they had so many penalties and they were going backwards, did you see him screaming at his teammates on the sideline? That's when I knew. I said, we're in his head. We got him. If we could just score a few points, we could win this game. And we did. And you know what? Was it pretty offensive wise? Absolutely not. It was pretty defensive wise, though. And I'm going to go over that in a minute. But a win is a win. And in the NFL, you'll take a win any way you can get one. Who cares if it's pretty or not? A win is a win. You know, I've always said anybody can be beaten on any given, Sunday, but Thursday. But it's true. And we showed it last night. So let's do a little highlights of the game. Okay, first of all, the one thing I have preached, if you've been watching my shows regularly, you know the two things, right? I want to hear it. Penalties and running the ball. Okay, we were good in one, sort of bad in the other. We just to point out, if you were listening to the game, Troy Aikman, which, by the way, first, Troy Aikman and Joe Buck did not compliment the Bears at all. They were all Tampa Bay, and Joe Buck particularly. He does not like the Bears. I don't know. You wonder what happened along the way. He is not a Bears fan. But I got to tell you something. I think we're cursed, and I know why. If you listened to the show last night, Joe Buck said back in the early days, in the early 1900s, with football, his great grandfather was a Chicago Bear. I was like, that's it. We are cursed by the Buck. The Buck has cursed us. Kind of like the goat for the Chicago Cubs, which I'm a Sox fan, but still so our curse is the Buck family. I thought that was pretty funny. So, but anyways, so they were talking about penalties. When the Bears came into that game, they were the fifth most penalized team out of the 32 teams. That's not good. Now, they did improve last night. They had 6 penalties for 66 yards. And their first penalty was not until late into the second quarter, which impressed me. I was like, okay, that's better. But then they had the other 5 in the second half. But Tampa Bay had 11 penalties for 109 yards. And see, that just goes to show you, I tell you, I told you last week that you can't win when you get that many penalties consistently. And look what happened to Tampa Bay. They didn't win, did they? Nope. But I will say this. In my humbled opinion, I believe what really set our defense, because our defense came to play last night. But they weren't playing very well in the beginning. They were missing tackles. Roquan Smith, twice. He missed tackles where he had him behind the line of scrimmage. I was like screaming my head off. Tackle! Wrap him up! Now, that's another indication of no preseason because they didn't tackle. They weren't practicing it. But this is the 5th game, so you should be having tackling down. Now, the second half, they came out and they tackled so much better after they probably got screamed at in the locker room. But you got to start out tackling. You can't let these guys. You've got them backed up. And you're this close to getting them, and you let him go? And he did it twice. I was really annoyed by that. But other than that, our defense played spectacular. They came to play. And they came to play, but in my opinion, this is when it really started. The first quarter, late in the first quarter, when the Tampa Bay Bucks and Brady had fourth down in inches, and they were down on the 20-yard line, our 20-yard line, and they went for it. They got it, of course. I know it was only inches, but that was disrespectful to the Bears defense. That's the Bucks saying to the Bears, "You can't stop us because you suck." And because most teams would have, 9 out of 10 teams would have punted that ball, because if they fumbled it or didn't get the first down, then the Bears are 20 yards away from a touchdown or a field goal. So, to me, that shouted, "You can't beat us." And I think, and I text my son, I hope the coaches are reminding the defense that they just disrespected them real bad on Thursday Night Football. Well, guess what? After that series, the Bears defense came out to play. So they were talking about, they're like, who do they think they are? They went on fourth down in our 20-yard line. And then that was it. The Bears, and they talked about it at halftime. The Bears weren't putting up with that. And Mac had his best game of the year. And he still kind of, he did practice this week, but he's still hobbling around on that sore knee. But he came last night. It was a thing of beauty to see them playing. There was a few things defensive, I said, where they missed the tackles early on, but they corrected that, and they were just awesome. It's kind of weird, but we allowed our team to only score 19 points this week, and last week that was the score of the Indy game, 19 to whatever we scored. So 19 to 10, I think it was. And it was kind of weird. Both games 19, but if you can hold Brady to 19 points, you're rocking it, man. So that was a really, really, really good thing. Our defense just really had his number, and they got in his head, and it really, really showed. So real proud of the defense, real proud of our kicking game. Cordell Patterson, he just rocks it, man. He came out, and it don't matter where it is, he comes out and he gets positive yards. Well, we're going to talk about offense, so I'll wait for that. But yeah, so that's all the good thing. Let me see if there's any other stuff I want to talk to about the defense before we get into the real problem of the offense. Okay. So we went over all that. Okay, so let's start talking about our offense. Now, if you've been watching me, you also know I'm not on the Nick Foles bandwagon, and last night's game did not make me jump on any closer. Not happening. I know everyone says Mitchell couldn't have done better, but we really don't know that. And at this point, I don't see Foles being the answer. He has, again, he's not that great of a quarterback. I don't know what Nagy was thinking, but if you were going to go get somebody to compete with Mitchell, why don't they go get Cam Newton for all that, if you're going to do that, right? Get somebody who's good. Foles is not the answer. Okay, so I have to take off my glasses because I started taking notes during the game, which I realize is going to be a smart thing for my show. So it was funny because there was a play in the second quarter where Foles missed a wide open Mooney, number 11, our diamond in the rough that I'm telling you about, and wide open, and he missed him. And Troy Aikman said, 2 weeks ago when the Bears played Atlanta, that's when Mitchell got benched, because he missed a wide open receiver, and then he was benched after that. Oh, well, didn't bench Foles, did he? And then Foles missed a wide open Robinson for a first down in the first quarter. He was open, and we only needed 3 yards, and he missed him. He freaking missed him. I could have made that pass and catch. Now, Robinson could have caught it if it was worth it, but it was way over his head. It was pissing me off. I'm like, wait a minute. This guy is no better than Mitchell. So, I don't know. And that's why I say, I honestly, and I believe that this experiment of Nagy's, or whatever you want to call it, if we don't go somewhere significantly this year, Nagy could get fired. Don't be surprised if that happens. You know what? There's talent on this. Well, the defense for sure. We got some youngsters, and we got some. Um, we got a decent running back of 32. We got to work on the offensive line. We lost another offensive lineman yesterday who started the last 2 years, so that's really going to hurt. Got to concentrate on an offensive line in the next draft. And you know what team? College team, like I swear they grow them in the fields there. Iowa guys who come out of Iowa on the offensive line are always so good. They always have good offensive linemen. So we need to work on that. But we've gotten some receivers, and I believe that our tight ends are getting a little bit better. I'd like to see our rookie get involved a little bit more, but I guess he hasn't earned that time. The one from Clement from Notre Dame. Graham did a good job last night, except for he did a great job catching that touchdown in the end zone one-handed. But there was later in the game, it was the third quarter, fourth quarter, and there was a ball thrown to him, and he just stood there and waited for the ball, which allowed the defense to come in and knock it. He should have moved up a yard or two. He would have caught it. He should have gone and gotten it, but he was being a lazy ass standing there, and then the defensive guy knocked it down. I don't know if you guys remember that, and even Aikman said, he shouldn't have stood there. He should have went and got it. And I was agreeing. I was just writing that down in my notes. So, and then another time, we had Montgomery, number 32, when we were behind. It was 2nd and 16. And what does Nagy call? A pass behind the line of scrimmage. I hate those. The Bears aren't good enough to throw behind the line and then take off. They're just not. And we ended up losing yards. That was a busted play. It went nowhere. I mean, come on, Nagy. Nagy did not call a good game again last night. And, people say, well, we have an offensive quarter. He's calling the plays. No, he's not. You guys, last year, Nagy's been calling the plays the last 2 years, in 18 and 19. And I thought it was terrible at it last year. And he wants to be this guru. So the Bears made him hire an offensive coordinator this year. But that guy's really there to help him with schemes, looking at the films, working with the players. Nagy, don't be fooled by that offensive coordinator. Nagy is still calling the plays. Guarantee it. And he ain't calling good plays. Although there was the one, was the fourth quarter, and Cordell Patterson ran a route, and he was open in the end zone, but Foles couldn't get it to him because the line did not give him any chance. So that wasn't on Foles. He had absolutely no chance. But if he had had a few more seconds, Cordell Patterson was open. So there was a couple plays that I really liked, but our line didn't work out. So Foles could not get the ball. But and I don't want to keep beating up on Foles because I'm not a fan of, especially when you're winning, beating on. But I'm just trying to prove the point that I'm not seeing a lot of improvement here. And Foles can't move. At least Mitchell can run and throw the ball. Mitchell, yeah, he's got some problems reading the defense. That's his biggest problem. And he did overthrow people this year. But again, so did Nick Foles in the last 2 games. And that, I believe, is lack of preseason. And, and it's funny because the players don't want preseason. Well, this year proves we need preseason. Maybe not 4 games, maybe 3 or 2, but you need it. You just do. So, what else? Okay. Okay, so then the Bears, here's another one where they would have had a first down, but they had a holding penalty. They had a first down. He threw it. They got the ball. They had a holding penalty. Went back to third, and then we ended up kicking the ball. So I was just showing you how, these penalties do hurt you. I mean, look what it did to Tampa Bay. And then in the third quarter, Foles gets sacked for 8 yards. And we just couldn't move the ball then. And it was just terrible. He should be sacked. Throw the ball out of bounds. If anything, that guy has been in the league to learn that. Throw the ball out of bounds. There was a pass that instead of throwing it out of bounds, he was being pressured, and he threw it to Montgomery, who was behind the line of scrimmage, and he went nowhere. We lost like 9 yards on it or something, and he could have thrown it out of bounds. So it's like, he's not thinking any better. I'm just not seeing it, and that is just, in my opinion. Oh, and the other thing is, I did not know this. This was interesting. Our kicker, who is now on the team because our other kicker is on IR. So Santos, this is interesting. He won the game for us, right, with that last kick. He was on Tampa Bay the last 2 years, 18 and 19, and they released him last year. So it was kind of like a, there you go. So that was kind of fun, and but I mean, it was a lot of fun. I mean, at first when it was 13-0, I know my son and I were talking, and I said, we just can't give up. We just can't. Not this year. There's just something about them. We've got a good core guys. They really want to work together. You can see it's a good team. We just have to. And then today, I will say it, Nagy had his press conference today, and he really let the offensive hat of it. But this is the first time that I've really seen him be really mad. He goes, it's hard to be frustrated, when you win. He said, but he goes, it's easier to look at film when you win, even though you were bad in areas. So defensive, he praised the defense and the kicking game, no problems. The offense, he said we were horrible. And he's blaming it on himself too, which is true. He said we've got to coach better and teach better, and the players have got to learn better. And it's all of them. You can't really say much about Robinson or Mooney. They're both playing really well. Jimmy Graham's playing pretty well. So I got to tell you, though, every time I think of the number 11, our receiver, Mooney. Now, this is for all the old folks who watch this show. Lucille Ball, after her and Ricky, Desi Arnaz stopped I Love Lucy, and then in the 60s she started the Lucy Show, and Mr. Mooney was her boss in many of the shows. Does anybody remember Mr. Mooney? So that's what I always think about. And 33, Jalen Johnson, JJ, let's call him JJ, 33, our cornerback, another great game. And Mac, again, we can't say enough about him. I'd really like to hear some other names popping up, and then Fuller. But the thing about last night's game is, and what Joe Buck and Troy Aikman were saying is, there was a couple penalties that shouldn't have been against the Pats or the Bucks. And well, there was one where we got that roughing the passer that they roughed Nick Foles, and we got a 15 yards and we got a first down, and that was iffy. Well, a couple weeks ago, our defense, and I think it was against Atlanta, hit Matt Ryan, and it wasn't even a hit, and we got a penalty. So I say that's the universe making that right, because we shouldn't have gotten it then, and they probably shouldn't have gotten this, but we'll take it. And then that one where they called them off sides, and Troy was saying we did a false start. Maybe it was true, but let's face it, football, that's how football is. Sometimes the ball bounces your way, and sometimes it doesn't. And a lot of times, for Tom Brady, that ball is always bounced the way he wants, and that is a part of football. There is luck involved there too, and it all goes around and comes around, I think. So, but great game. I mean, so much fun. Although I got more gray hair yesterday, and I just can't afford this gray hair. So Bears, you got to cut it out, all right? Because this is getting pretty dang white. Because I was just pacing and then screaming and then pacing and screaming. So it's just been, it's fun. There's no doubt about it. But now we get 10 days off to rest a little bit. They're going to give them a couple days off, and then it's back to work. And I don't know all four teams, but I know we have a tough schedule coming up. From what they were saying, I know we play Carolina a week from this Sunday. So, and they're playing very well right now. So, and I believe the next stretch is really, really tough. I could actually get their schedule, but we don't have to do that now. But seeing how the Bears won, I got to do the Bear Down song, and I tweaked it a little bit. So, what do you guys want to do? You want to see if I can get to there we go. Hang on. All right, you ready? This is the victory song for the day after a win. All right, let's go. And nobody sings better than Lynn. Bear down, Chicago Bears. Make every play clear the way to victory. Bear down, Chicago Bears. Put up a fight with the might so fearlessly. You'll never forget the way you thrilled the nation with your deformation. Bear down, Chicago Bears. Let 'em know why you're wearing the blue and orange. You're the pride and joy of Bears Nation, Chicago Bears. Bear down. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about, right? So, yes, that's my tweaked song. A little bit better than theirs, I think. So, thank you. It was a true joy watching that game. And because we did beat Brady and he looked confused and pissed. So I'm going to take that every dang day. Now, the only other person I want to do that to twice this season is Aaron Rodgers, but we got a ways to go for that. So we'll talk about that when that happens. But that'll be the next joy. So let's everybody, enjoy the next 10 days. We'll see you. I'll see you next week. I will be doing my, let's see. I will do my Monday show from home. And then a week from this Friday, I'm actually going to be in Arizona. So I'll probably do it there. But I will be doing shows next week for the following game. And I appreciate the support. Keep on watching. Oh, I didn't tell you about my jersey. Oh, what's wrong with me? All right, sorry. Okay, let's backtrack a little bit. So my jersey today is a white one. It's the only white one I have, and I love it. It's number 75, and that is Kyle Long. He used to be on our offensive line. And was Kyle great? No. He was good. He was solid, but he got hurt after a few years. But I just loved him. He's got a great backstory from college and this and that. And he is the son of Howie Long. And then his brother Chris Long played in the NFL a really long time. And really, really good people. Howie and his wife did a really good job. And the reason I'm wearing this is a shout out to Howie. So last night, on the NFL channel, they all picked the Bucks, and then on the Thursday night, with Terry Bradshaw, Michael Strahan, Howie, and Jimmy Johnson, and oh God, what's the other guy's name? I can't think of his name, but they were all made their picks, and Howie picked the Bears. I love you, Howie. So this is a shout out to Howie. I've given you a little love. And I do love your son, Kyle. I wish he could still play. We could really use him on the offensive line, but I get it. So that's the story of the jersey. So I want everybody to have a good weekend. Remember to love one another, take care of each other, and let's just all get along. And we love our Bears. We're tied for first place. We're 4-1. So let's keep on going and bear down, all right? And I'll see you guys later and keep on rocking from Las Vegas. I'll see you on the next show. Oh, bye-bye.